57, text number 17 onwards. Now this is Mother Devuti's next question, question number 4. And this question is about the reality of liberation. Okay. Seventeenth. देवहूतिरुवाच पुरुषं प्रकृतिर्ब्रह्मन् न विमुञ्चति कर्हिचित् अन्योन्यापाश्रयत्वाच्च नित्यत्वाद् अन्ययो प्रभो। देवहूतिरुवाच पुरुषं प्रकृतिर्ब्रह्मन् न विमुञ्चति कर्हिचित् अन्योन्यापाश्रयत्वाच्च नित्यत्वाद् अन्ययो प्रभो। देवहूतिरुवाच पुरुषं प्रकृतिर्ब्रह्मन् न विमुञ्चति कर्हिचित् अन्योन्यापाश्रयत्वाच्च नित्यत्वाद् अन्ययो प्रभो। Devahuti Uvacha, Devahuti said, Purusham, the spirit soul, Prakriti, material nature, Brahman, O Brahman, na, not Vimunchati, does release, Karhichit at any time. Anyonya, to one another, Apashriyatvad, from attraction, Cha, and Nityatvad, from eternality, Anayo, of them both, Prabho, O my Lord. Sri Devahuti inquired, my dear Brahman, does material nature ever give release to the spirit soul? Since one is attracted to the other eternally, how is their separation possible? The most important question. Okay, we discussed so many things. Now, we discussed so many things about material nature and how the jiva is entangled inside it. But now please tell me, is it at all possible? Does material nature ever give release to the spirit soul? Because the spirit soul anyway is very much eternally attracted to this nature. So, will it ever happen? This is the thing. Okay, so the main question is here, how is liberation possible? Finally, this is the question of Mother Devahuti, that okay, so many things happen now. So you have told that how jiva, spirit soul, is entangled in material nature, how material nature is controlling everything. But now please tell, does it ever happen that does material nature ever give release to the spirit soul? Okay, niklo, chalo. Purport. Devahuti, the mother of Kapil Dev, here makes her first inquiry. Although one may understand that spirit, soul and matter are different, their actual separation is not possible, either by philosophical speculation or by proper understanding. The spirit soul is the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord, and matter is the external potency of the Lord. The two eternal potencies have somehow or other been combined. So, material nature is the external potency of the Lord, and jiva, spirit soul, is the tatastha or marginal potency of the Lord, and somehow both are they have been combined. And since it is so difficult to separate one from the other, how is it possible for the individual soul to become liberated? Srila Prabhupada says that by practical experience one can see that when the soul is separated from the body has no real existence, and when the body is separated from the soul, one cannot perceive the existence of the soul. Okay, the body, when the soul is separated from the body has no existence and body will be finished. And when the body is separated from the soul, one cannot perceive the existence of the soul. How you will perceive that soul is there? So as long as the soul and the body are combined, we can understand that there is life. But when they are separated, there is no manifested existence of the body or the soul. This question asked by Devati of Kapil Dev is more or less impelled by the philosophy of voidism. The voidists say that consciousness is a product of combination of matter, and that as soon as the consciousness is gone, the material combination dissolves, and therefore there is ultimately nothing but voidness. That's what their concept is. So this absence of consciousness is called nirvana in Mayavad philosophy. Okay, so this thing will be further explained. Okay. यथा गंधस्य भूमेश्च न भावो व्यतिरेकतः अपां रसस्य च यथा तथा बुद्धे परस्य च यथा गंधस्य भूमेश्च न भावो व्यतिरेकतः अपां रसस्य च यथा तथा बुद्धे पुरुषस्य च यथा गंधस्य भूमेश्च न भावो व्यतिरेकतः अपां रसस्य च यथा तथा बुद्धे परस्य च यथा as gandhasya of aroma, bhume of archa, and na no bhava existence, vyatirekatah separate, apam of water, rasasya of taste, cha and yatha as tatha so, buddhe of intelligence, parasya of consciousness, spirit, cha and as there is no separate existence of the earth and its aroma, or of water and its taste, they cannot exist separately. There cannot be any separate existence of intelligence and consciousness. Who is saying this? Mother Devati is saying. So her question is this only: how is liberation possible? Basically, but she is trying to explain her question more. The example is given here that anything material has an aroma. The flower, the earth, everything has an aroma. If the aroma is separated from the matter cannot be identified. If there is no taste to water, the water has no meaning. If there is no heat in the fire has no meaning. Similarly, when there is want of intelligence, spirit has no meaning. 19. Akartu karma bandho ayam पुरुषस्य यद आश्रया गुणेषु सत्सु प्रकृते कैवल्यं ते स्वतः कथम अकर्तुः कर्म बन्धोऽयं पुरुषस्य यद आश्रया गुणेषु सत्सु प्रकृते कैवल्यं ते स्वतः कथम अकर्तुः कर्म बन्धोऽयं पुरुषस्य यद आश्रया गुणेषु सत्सु प्रकृते कैवल्यं ते स्वतः कथम अकर्तुः of the passive performer, the non-doer, karma bandha, bondage to free to activities, I am this purushasya of the soul, yat ashraya, caused by attachment to the modes, guneshu, while the modes, satsu are existing, prakrite of material nature, kaivalyam freedom, teshu those, atah hence, katham how. Hence, even though he is the passive performer of all activities, How can there be freedom for the soul as long as material nature acts on him and binds him? Even though the soul is the passive performer of all activities, how is it possible the freedom for the soul as long as material nature acts on him and binds him? So, although the living entity desires freedom from the contamination of water, contamination of matter, he is not given release. Okay. Actually, as soon as a living entity puts himself under the control of the modes of material nature, his acts are influenced by the qualities of material nature and he becomes passive. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Prakrte kriyamādāni gunai karmāni sarvasa ahankāra vimūಢātmā kartāham iti manyate 3.27. The living entity acts according to the qualities or modes of material nature. He falsely thinks that he is acting, but unfortunately he is passive. He is not acting, but he is passive performer. In other words, he has no opportunity to get out of the control of material nature because it has already conditioned him. Okay, so actually everything is done by Prakriti through its three gunas, but Jiva thinks that I am doing ahankara vimūಢātmā. He is thinking I am doing everything. Kartāham iti manyate. So in Bhagavad Gita it is also stated that it is very difficult to get out of the clutches of material nature. One may try in different ways to think that everything is void in the ultimate issue, that there is no God, and that even if the background of everything is spirit, it is impersonal. This speculation may go on, but actually it is very difficult to get out of the clutches of material nature. Devati poses the question that although one may speculate in many ways, where is liberation as long as one is under the spell of material nature? The answer is also found in Bhagavad Gita 7.14. Only one who has surrendered himself unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Krishna can be freed from the clutches of Maya. Mam evye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Bhagwan Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mama Maya Durat Devi Yesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durattaya Mam Evye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. This Prakriti Devi Yesha Gunamayi, this my energy Devi Gunamayi of three gunas, Devi Yesha Gunamayi Mama Maya, it's my external energy, my Maya Durattaya, very difficult to overcome. So who can overcome Maya? Mam eva ye prapadyante, whoever comes to my shelter, Maya metam tarantite, they can only cross over the material nature. Since Devati is gradually coming to the point of surrender, her questions are very intelligent. How can one be liberated? How can one be in a pure state of spiritual existence as long as he is strongly held by the modes of material nature? Material nature is so strongly holding, how one can get out? This is also an indication to the false meditator. There are many so-called meditators who think I am the supreme spirit soul. I am conducting the activities of material nature. Under my direction the sun is moving and the moon is rising. They think that by such contemplation or meditation they can become free. But it is seen that just 3 minutes after finishing such nonsensical meditation, they are immediately captured by the modes of material nature. Immediately after his high sounding meditation, a meditator becomes thirsty and wants to smoke or drink. He is under the strong grip of material nature, yet he thinks that he is already free from the clutches of Maya. He thinks, but he is under the clutches of Maya. He feels thirsty. Right? He has to drink something, he has to pass urine, he is under the control. So this question of devotees is for such a person who falsely claims that he is everything, that ultimately everything is void, and that there are no sinful or pious activities. There are some people who thinks like that. They say you just contemplate that you are only doing everything, everything is void, and like that so many things they will meditate simply. Just they think by doing that they will come out of the clutches of material nature, but it's not possible. These are all the artistic inventions. Actually, unless a living entity surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, as instructed in Bhagavad Gita, there is no liberation for freedom from the, there is no liberation or freedom from the clutches of Maya. One can never get out. It's very clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita, Mameviye prapadyante, whoever comes to my shelter, they only can cross over this material world, clutches of Maya. Okay. ट्वेंटियथ श्लोक क्वचित् तत्त्वावमर्शेण निवृत्तं भयम् उल्बणम् अनिवृत्तनिमित्तत्वात् पुनः प्रत्यवतिष्ठते क्वचित् तत्त्वावमर्शेण निवृत्तं भयम् उल्बणम् अनिवृत्तनिमित्तत्वात् पुनः प्रत्यवतिष्ठते क्वचित् तत्त्वावमर्शेण निवृत्तं भयम् उल्बणम् अनिवृत्त निमित्तत्वात् पुनः प्रत्यवतिष्ठते. Kvachit, in a certain case, tattva, the fundamental principles, avamarshena, by reflecting upon, nivrittam, avoided, bhayam, fear, ulbanam, great, anivritta, not seized, nimittatvat, since the cause, punaha, again, pratyavatisthate, it appears. Even if the great fear of bondage, even if the great fear of bondage is avoided by mental speculation and inquiry into the fundamental principles, it may still appear again since its cause has not ceased. Sometimes fear of this material world, this samsara, is destroyed by considering the elements, but fear then returns because of not destroying samsara's cause, the root cause. So, the point is here that the fear might reappear. Material bondage is caused by putting oneself under the control of matter because of the false ego of lording it over material nature. This is the main thing. Okay, lording it over material nature, that is the main point because of which Jiva comes under the control of material nature. He wants to lord it over material nature, but he comes under the control of material nature. Bhagavad Gita 7.27 states, Ichchadve samuttena. Two kinds of propensities arise in the living entity. One propensity is Ichcha, which means desire to lord it over material nature or to be as great as the Supreme Lord. Everyone desires to be the greatest personality. You want to be the greatest personality in this material world. Dvesha, another thing is, Dvesha means envy. When one becomes envious of Krishna or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one thinks, why should Krishna be the all and all? I am as good as Krishna. These two items, Ichcha and Dvesh, these two items desire to be, first is desire to be the Lord and envy of the Lord, are the beginning cause of material bondage. One is desire that I want to become as good as Krishna. Why Krishna is all in all, I want to be Krishna. Another thing is envy. Why he only? Why not me? This is the thing. Why only Krishna? Why not me? Two things are the beginning cause of material bondage. As long as a philosopher, salvationist, widest, philosopher, salvationist or widest has some desire to be supreme, to be everything, or to deny the existence of God, the cause remains. And there is no question of his liberation. So this is the cause, root cause. Okay, this is Chandvesha. So unless until this cause is removed, there is no question of liberation. Devati very intelligently says, one may theoretically analyze and say that by knowledge he has become freed. But actually, as long as the cause exists, he is not free. Bhagavad Gita confirms that after performing such speculative activities for many births, when one actually comes to his real consciousness and surrenders unto the Supreme Lord, Krishna, then the fulfillment of his research in knowledge is actually achieved. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyate Vasudev sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. There is a gulf of difference between theoretical freedom and actual freedom from material bondage. Theoretical freedom and actual freedom. The Bhagavatam 10.14.4 says that if one gives up the auspicious path of bhakti, devotional service, and simply tries to know things by speculation, one wastes his valuable time. Klishyanti ye keval bodha labdhaye. The result of such a labor of love is simply labor. There is no other result. The labor of speculation is ended only by exhaustion. The example is given that there is no benefit in husking the skin of an empty paddy. The rice is already gone. Similarly, simply by the speculative process, one cannot be freed from material bondage, for the cause still exists. One has to nullify the cause, and then the effect will be nullified. This is explained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the following verses. So the next verse onwards, Lord Kapila is going to explain the answer of Mother Devati's question. Okay. Sri Bhagavanuvacha Animitta Nimittena Swadharmena Malatmana Tivraya Mai Bhaktaya Cha Shruta Sambhritaya Chiram. Sri Bhagavanuvacha Animitta Nimittena Swadharmena Malatmana Tivraya Mai Bhaktaya Cha Shruta Sambhritaya Chiram. Sri Bhagavanuvacha Animitta Nimittena Swadharmena Malatmana Tivraya Mai Bhaktaya Cha Shruta Sambhritaya Chiram. Sri Bhagavanuvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Animitta Nimittena, without desiring the fruits of activities, Swadharmena, by executing one's prescribed duties, Amala Atmana, with a pure mind, Tivraya, serious, Mai, unto me, Bhaktya, by devotional service, Cha, and Shruta, hearing, Sambhritaya, endowed with Chiram, for a long time. Translation. 1 second. Okay. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one can get liberation by seriously discharging devotional service unto me, and thereby hearing for a long time about me or from me. Okay, so now Lord Kapila is giving the solution. What he is saying? One can get liberation by seriously discharging devotional service by bhakti unto me, and thereby hearing for a long time hearing about me or from me. By thus executing one's prescribed duties, there will be no reaction, and one will be freed from the contamination of matter. Okay. So, Shruta Sambhrataya Chiram, hearing, Bhaktya Tivraya Mai Bhaktaya Cha. This is direct answer that for liberation or for coming out of the clutches of material nature, the direct answer Lord Kapila is saying in the first sentence itself, Tivraya Mai Bhaktya Cha, do my bhakti, serious bhakti, Tivraya, and Shruta Sambhratya, hear. Chiram, for long time, long hearing, and not 5 minutes, long hearing. Right? What Lord saying? By energetic bhakti to me for a long time. Don't desire results, which without desires for results. This bhakti will purify the heart. Okay, and perform according to one's occupational duties. By knowledge with realization of the elements, by strong renunciation, by yoga accompanied by austerities, by intense concentration of the Lord, on the Lord, the subtle body of the jiva burns continually and gradually disappears like the kindling stick is consumed by fire. So when someone is continuously hearing about Krishna and performing devotional service, the subtle body also will burn. That means that mind, intelligence, everything, that subtle body. Srila Prabhupada is explaining from the Sridhar Swami commentary that Sridhar Swami comments in this connection that by association with material nature alone one does not become conditioned. Conditional life begins only after one is infected by the modes of material nature. Okay? Not by association with material nature conditional life begins, but conditional life begins when one is infected by the modes of material nature. So if someone is in contact with the police department, that does not mean that he is a criminal. As long as one does not commit criminal acts, even though there is a police department, he is not punished. Similarly, the liberated soul is not affected, although he is in the material nature. One may be with the police, but that does not mean that he is criminal only. Okay, so if he does a criminal act, then only police will punish him. So even the Supreme Personality of Godhead is supposed to be in association with material nature when he descends. So that is why, but he is not affected. So liberated soul, they are not affected by material nature. They may be here in material nature. Krishna comes, but they are not affected by material nature. Okay, when Prime Minister comes, when police serves Prime Minister, so same way when Krishna comes, material nature serves Krishna. Although, now the analogy is given, although the lotus flower is in association with water, it does not mix with water. It does not mix with the water. You can see lotus flower remain untouched by water. Water comes, immediately goes, and it becomes dry. It looks like always dry. So that is how one has to live, as described here by the personality of Godhead Kapil Dev. Animitta nimittena swadharmenatmalatmana. One can be liberated from all adverse circumstances. One can be liberated from all adverse circumstances simply by seriously engaging in devotional service. Okay. What Prabhupada is saying that one can be liberated from all adverse circumstances simply by seriously engaging in devotional service. Serious, tivraya bhaktya. How this devotional service develops and becomes mature is explained here. In the beginning, one has to perform his prescribed duties with a clean mind. Clean consciousness means Krishna consciousness. One has to perform his prescribed duties in Krishna consciousness. So whatever is the one's duties he should do, but those duties should be done in Krishna consciousness. There is no necessity of changing one's prescribed duties. Whatever your duties, your job, you don't have to change. One simply has to act in Krishna consciousness. Your consciousness should be Krishna, that I am doing this for Krishna, like that. In discharging Krishna conscious duties, one should determine whether by his professional or occupational duties, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is satisfied. This he has to think always. He may keep doing his prescribed duties, professional duties, but he should think whether by this duty Krishna is satisfied or not. In another place in the Bhagavatam it is said, Swanutishtasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshnam. Everyone has some prescribed duties to perform, but the perfection of such duties will be reached only if the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is satisfied by such actions. Okay. Swanutishtasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshnam. So, whatever prescribed duty one may do, but the point is that the perfection is only when Krishna is satisfied by such actions. So, I have to always check whether my duties, by my activities, whether Krishna is satisfied or not. For example, Arjuna's prescribed duty was to fight, and the perfection of his fighting was tested by the satisfaction of Krishna. So, perfection of our duty is tested by the satisfaction of Krishna. If Krishna is satisfied, your duty is perfect. If Krishna is not satisfied, you may do wonder, but it is not perfect. Krishna wanted him to fight, and when he fought for the satisfaction of the Lord, that was the perfection of his professional devotional duty. On the other hand, when contrary to the wish of Krishna, he was not willing to fight, that was imperfect. So sometime it may be like that. What in my vision and in the society vision, what looks perfect, that may not be perfect, because Krishna is not satisfied maybe. But what in the sight of, in the vision of society and in my vision, what looks imperfect, that may be perfect, because that may please and satisfy Krishna. So that's very tricky. That's why we have to always ask from a spiritual master whether this activity I am going to do, I am performing, whether Krishna is satisfied by this or not. Because sometimes I may think I will do this, and I am thinking this is bhakti, but it may not. So if one wants to perfect his life, he should discharge his prescribed duties for the satisfaction of Krishna. One must act in Krishna consciousness, for such action will never produce any reaction. Animitta nimittena. That action which is done in Krishna consciousness, the action which is done in Krishna consciousness will not bring any reaction. That is why there won't be any reaction, so there won't be any birth also. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Yajnartat karmanno anyatra loko ayam karma bandhana. All activities should be performed simply for yajna or the satisfaction of Vishnu. Anything done otherwise without the satisfaction of Vishnu or yajna produces bondage. So here it is also prescribed by Kapil Muni that one can transcend material entanglement by acting in Krishna consciousness. How one can transcend material entanglement? By acting in Krishna consciousness, which means seriously engaging in devotional service. So this serious devotional service can develop by, now this is the solution, seriously engaging in devotional service. And how to do that? By hearing for long periods of time. This serious devotional service can develop by hearing for long periods of time. Chanting and hearing is the beginning of the process of devotional service. One should associate with the devotees and hear from them about the Lord's transcendental appearance, activities, disappearance, instructions, etc. Okay, one should associate with the devotees of Krishna and hear from them about Krishna's transcendental pastimes, Krishna's transcendental appearance, his different wonderful leelas, activities, and how he disappeared from this world, and what are the instructions of Krishna. Okay. So next thing, like Lord Kapila, we saw in translation that he said that about me or by me. So further Prabhupada is explaining that there are two kinds of Shruti or scriptures. One is spoken by the Lord and the other is spoken about the Lord and his devotees. So Bhagavad Gita is the former. Bhagavad Gita is the Shruti which is spoken by the Lord, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the latter. Srimad Bhagavatam is the is spoken about the Lord and about his devotees by his devotees. So one must hear these scriptures repeatedly from reliable sources in order to become fixed in serious devotional service. This is the point. One must hear these scriptures repeatedly from reliable sources in order to become fixed in serious devotional service. So if one wants to be fixed in serious devotional service, one must hear these scriptures repeatedly from reliable sources. Through engagement in such devotional service, one becomes freed from the contamination of Maya. It is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam that hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead cleanses the heart of all contaminations caused by the influence of the three modes of material nature. By continuous, regular hearing, the effects of the contamination of lust and greed to enjoy or lord it over material nature diminish. And when lust and greed diminish, one then becomes situated in the mode of goodness. This is the stage of Brahman realization, or becomes spiritual realization. In this way, one becomes fixed on the transcendental platform. Remaining fixed on the transcendental platform is liberation from material entanglement. Very, very, very important purport. Okay, 21st shloka that was. So one can get, okay, we will take one more shloka and then I will summarize. 22 and 23 we can take. So this till 23, Lord Kapila is recommending the intense practice. Okay. And 24 onwards he will tell that Prakriti cannot harm an enlightened soul. So let's see 22nd verse. Then I will summarize. Jnanena drishta tattvena vairagyena baliyasa tapoyuktena yogena tibrenatma samadhina. Jnanena drishta tattvena vairagyena baliyasa tapoyuktena yogena tibrenatma samadhina. Jnanena drishta tattvena vairagyena baliyasa tapoyuktena yogena tibrenatma samadhina. Jnanena, in knowledge, drishta tattvena, with vision of the absolute truth, vairagyena, with renunciation, baliyasa, very strong, tapa yuktena, by engagement in austerity, yogena, by mystic yoga, tivrena, firmly fixed, atma samadhina, by self absorption. This devotional service has to be performed strongly in. Now next thing he is telling, previous sloka he said devotional service has to be performed, and how one can perform serious devotional service? By long hearing. And then now he is saying this devotional service has to be performed strongly in perfect knowledge and with transcendental vision. One must be strongly renounced and must engage in austerity and perform mystic yoga in order to be firmly fixed in self-absorption. So devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be performed blindly due to material emotion or mental concoction. Srila Prabhupada is saying very wonderful sentence. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be performed blindly due to material emotion or mental concoction. It is specifically mentioned here that one has to perform devotional service in full knowledge by visualizing the absolute truth. We can understand about the absolute truth by evolving transcendental knowledge, and the result of such transcendental knowledge will be manifested by renunciation. So knowledge is required. So that renunciation is not temporary or artificial, but is very strong. It is said, so in order to understand about Krishna, we need transcendental knowledge, and transcendental knowledge we can have, or we can get that transcendental knowledge only when we get this transcendental knowledge, then the renunciation comes, or you can say that this knowledge, unless until one is not having renunciation, this knowledge will not manifest. So that renunciation is not temporary or artificial, but is very strong. It is said that development of Krishna consciousness is exhibited by proportionate material attachment or vairagya, material detachment or vairagya. How much one get detached from material thing, that much he will increase in knowledge. Development of Krishna consciousness is directly proportionate to the material detachment. Okay, so it's like the boat. If you are not leaving that, you are not removing that anchor, the boat will not move further. So, if one does not separate himself from material enjoyment, very important point. If one does not separate himself from material enjoyment, it is to be understood that he is not advancing in Krishna consciousness. Okay, this is the check, whether I am progressing in Krishna consciousness or not. How much I am having detachment, how much I am separating myself from material enjoyment. Renunciation in Krishna consciousness is so strong that it cannot be deviated by any attractive illusion. One has to perform devotional service in full tapasya, austerity. One should fast on the 2 Ekadashi days which fall on the 11th day of the waxing and waning moon, and on the birthdays of Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are many such fasting days. Yogena means by controlling the senses and mind. Yoga Indriya Samyamaha. Yogena implies that one is seriously absorbed in the self and is able by development of knowledge to understand his constitutional position in relationship with the super self. That is the yogena. That one is seriously absorbed in the self and is able, by the development of knowledge, he is able to understand his constitutional position in relationship with the Supreme Lord, that I am the servant and Krishna is my master. In this way, one becomes fixed in devotional service and his faith cannot be shaken by any material allurement. 23rd. Prakrti purushasyeha dahyamanaatva aharnisham tiro bhavi prakrti purushasyeha dahyamanaatva aharnisham tiro bhavitri shanakair agner yonir ivarani. Prakrti purushasyeha dahyamana tu aham nisham tiraha bhavitri shanakai agner yonir ivarani. Prakrti purushasyeha dahyamana tu ahar nisham tiro bhavitri shanakair agner yonir ivarani. Prakrti, the influence of material nature. Purushasya, of the living entity. Iha, here. Dahyamana, being consumed. Tu, but. Aham nisham, day and night. Tiraha bhavitri, disappearing. Shankai, gradually. Agni, of fire. Yoni, the cause of appearance. Iva, as. Arani, wooden sticks. The influence of material nature has covered the living entity, and thus it is as if the living entity were always in a blazing fire. But by the process of seriously discharging devotional service, this influence can be removed, just as wooden sticks which cause a fire are themselves consumed by it. By serious practice, the contamination can be removed. That is the point here. So fire is conserved in the wooden sticks, and when circumstances are favorable, the fire is ignited. It is inside the wooden. But the wooden sticks, which are the cause of the fire, are also consumed by the fire if it is properly dealt with. Right? Similarly, the living entity's conditional life of material existence is due to his desire to lord it over material nature and due to his envy of the Supreme Lord. Ichha and Dvesa, previous sloka it is explained. Thus, his main diseases are that he wants to be one with the Supreme Lord or he wants to become the Lord of material nature. The karmis try to utilize the resources of material nature and thus become its Lord and enjoy sense gratification, and the jnanis, the selfishness, who have become frustrated in enjoying the material resources, want to become one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead or merge into the impersonal effulgence. So these are two, karmis and jnanis. So these two diseases are due to material contamination, ichha and dvesa. Material contamination can be consumed by the devotional service, because in devotional service these two diseases, namely the desire to lord it over material nature, ichha, and the desire to become one with the Supreme Lord, dvesha, are absent. Therefore, the cause of material existence is at once consumed by the careful discharge of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Ichha and dvesha, these are the two things, the cause of our material existence. So they are once consumed by the careful discharge of devotional service. In devotional service, these two things will be destroyed. A devotee in full Krishna consciousness appears superficially to be a great karmi, always working, but the inner significance of the devotee's activities is that they are meant for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. He is doing all his activities for the satisfaction of Krishna. Okay, his discharge. So this is the point here. Okay, that from external vision he may look that he is also working like other karmis, but actually his work is for the satisfaction of Krishna. So this is called bhakti or devotional service. Arjuna was apparently a fighter, but when by his fighting he satisfied the senses of Lord Krishna, he became a devotee. Since a devotee also engages in philosophical research to understand the Supreme Person as he is, his activities may thus appear to be like those of a mental speculator, but a jnani. But actually, he is trying to understand the spiritual nature and transcendental activities. Thus, although the tendency for philosophical speculation exists, the material effects of fruitive activities and empiric speculation do not. Okay, although the tendency for philosophical speculation exists, the material effects of fruitive activities and empiric speculation do not, because this activity is meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the point here is that the cause of material existence is Ichcha and Dvesa. Ichcha is right desire to lord it over material nature, and Dvesa is envy from Krishna. Okay, this is the thing. So karmis are in the Ichcha part. They want to utilize material nature and lord it over material nature, sense gratification. And jnanis, they want to enjoy the material resources, want to become one with the Supreme Lord. Dvesha, because of dvesh, they want to become one with the Lord. I want to be like him only. Okay, so these two are the main disease, Ichcha and Dvesha. So out of Ichcha, karmis, they try to lord it over material nature and enjoy sense gratification, and out of Dvesha, jnanis, they want to they want to become one with the Supreme Lord. But in devotional service, so these two process, that's why not properly, because they are having this two disease. So devotional service is both the diseases are burned, finished, because in devotional service, because these two things are the cause of material existence, and the cause of material existence is at once consumed by the careful discharge of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, both the causes are consumed, finished. Okay, so a devotee, now in devotional service, that's why Prabhupada is saying that in devotional service both the things are gone. But next thing is that the devotee also may look like he is doing the same like karmi and jnanis. Devotee may be engaged in his office, in his home duties and other thing, but his point is that he is doing it for the satisfaction of Krishna, like Arjuna also fought and other warriors also fought. So both from external vision looks like both are fighting, but actually one is doing devotional service because he is fighting for Krishna's satisfaction. So in this way, karmi and the other and the devotee will look like same, but inner significance is different. Okay, in internal things are different. Same way the jnani also will do so much research and speculation, and devotee also will study so many books and try to get knowledge, but his knowledge is to know, his effort is to know about Krishna. So he is satisfying Krishna. So this knowledge acquiring thing becomes devotional service. So actually the whole thing, externally there is no change. It looks like they are same, but the inner thing is different. What is that inner thing? That devotee performs both the activities in Krishna consciousness. That's why they become devotional service. Okay, and others, they do not perform that in Krishna consciousness. That's why they are called karmis and jnanis, and they are under the material clutches. Okay, so they are in that two disease, Ichcha and Dvesa, and that disease itself is the cause of material existence. So because of that, they can never get the liberation, and by performing devotional service only the liberation is possible. That's what Lord Kapila is recommending here. And how one can perform this devotional service seriously, because Lord Kapila is saying by serious engagement in devotional service, one can get liberation. So how one can get seriously engaged? and seriously perform devotional service? By long hearing about Krishna, about Krishna Katha. That's the point. About Krishna's glories from reliable sources. So long hearing is very, very important. That's what here Lord Kapila is recommending. Tivraya Bhaktya, serious devotional service on has to perform. How? Shruti, by hearing. So that's why Srila Prabhupada made this arrangement that everywhere in all ISKCON centers there is a Bhagavatam class every day, that one creating opportunity, facility for everyone to come and hear Krishna Katha, so that everyone can perform serious devotional service. So that is why hearing, everyday hearing is very, very important. Okay. Now 24th shloka onwards we will do tomorrow. In that now in the 20th shloka, Lord Kapila answers Mother Devati's question about the reappearance of the fear. So this thing will be explained further by Lord Kapila, that by discovering and giving up its faultiness, the jiva becomes free. Okay, so Prakriti cannot harm enlightened souls. That will be explained from 24 to 26 shlokas tomorrow. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णवन की जय.